Unfortunately, as of right now, it looks like this is the end-ish for Build King. It it's a really weird spot right now, just because they ended it, but it's like the last chapter doesn't end like it actually concludes the story. They're gonna put like an extra chapter in volume 3. I don't think they really could have ended it in like any form of manner in just one chapter. It's really weird that they're letting him put the extra chapter in, so he can probably do a little bit in the third volume, because that's when it's going to come out, and we're going to be able to apparently read the concluded story. But with that, they ended it on a point where if they wanted to, they could bring it back. It's not like one of the other series when they get cancel ending and they kind of rush something and conclude a lot of the story and then pretty much go from there. Like, they just wrap up a whole bunch of stuff and then it's like, all right, it's over, story's done. Whereas like Build King's ending didn't even actually get rid of everything. It didn't end everything. It just kind of set up this cliffhanger. Again, it's really weird. And one thing that I've actually been talking about to other people that were reading Build King is that there's always there's the slim possibility like another manga or another magazine could end up buying it. Again, I've never really heard that many times that's happened, or like series switching magazines. So I don't know about that. But one thing about the glimmer of potential hope for either maybe that or going digital, just kind of like having a digital release and then just putting out volumes whenever a volume is ready to come out, is that they set they already announced Build King it was going to get canceled within the the everything behind the scenes, like all the people at Shonen Jump and everything before Volume 1 came out, because like Volume 1 came out on the 2nd in Japan, and they would have had to figure out they were going to cancel Build King a couple chapters ago prior, obviously having to get the next manga all slotted and picked to go in its place, because they're getting Phantom Seer's replacement already in this chapter, and Phantom Seer ended in the last chapter. So they already would have had to have that decided a long time ago. And you can see it in Phantom Seer when they kind of like were starting to pick up the pace very heavily. And they didn't do that in Build King. Like, that was the weird thing, is they said it like it was just going into another normal chapter. But with that, there's always the possibility that because of the sales did better than what they would expect, because the first volume Build King sold better than that Cop and Dolphin manga, and at least from what I'm seeing, like Build King was actually trending in Japan after the chapter came out, and the Japanese people who don't like look at spoilers and stuff found out that it was that it apparently ended. That there's always that slight shred of maybe, but who knows? Probably not. I'll keep always a slight level of optimism, but I also just hope that at the end of it, that Shimabukuro doesn't let this get to him and decides to either try again with another manga here or go to a different magazine, because I really do like his style. I really like Toriko. I like his ideas for Build King, and I was very happy that it got serialized. And when it was coming out again, I was genuinely enjoying it. It's a shame that other people weren't either reading it as well, just in general, because it had a lot of large-scale potential, and right now in a lot of series in Shonen Jump, people don't respond well to like the slower pace series. Like they really need to get a lot of stuff moving fast. And I did say, like, in the earlier portions of Building, I wish they got to some of the action earlier. I do generally think that he should have introduced Vigor at the start, just like the basic colors of Vigor, like within the first chapter, because Vigor is one of the things that a lot of people that were reading Build King very much enjoyed, just because it was a very interesting power system. Getting it earlier in the series so people can get used to it, but also just putting that concept at the beginning, I think would have drew in more people. And then just some of the action earlier. It's unfortunate, because I was seeing it like how a lot of older shonen would go, and you build up the beginning pretty calmly, and then just getting things essentially established, and then you kick off with like the larger scale plot and a lot of like action and stuff. And that's what was happening in Build King, but they would have had to probably decide that it was going to get canceled a while back, probably before even Shimabukuro got to the stuff with Satan Hills and everybody. showing up and doing all their thing, and the whole reveal around the gold and black vigors, because those are all really cool concepts, and I really like that in this chapter, explaining, you know, the importance of it and its large scale just kind of value. And then this new dude even coming in relating to Shovel, I thought was really cool as well. But let's get to the chapter. Again, I'm sad that it's getting axed. Maybe, you know, there's that, maybe another magazine could pick it up, or maybe Shonen Jump will decide to put it out only digitally, and then, you know, it can go on from there. Because that's like a big money saver, if you could just, like, maybe put Build King just on the status of digital, so you're not having to print it in the magazine. Anytime a chapter comes out, you know, every single consumer that would want to read it would have it instantaneously, and then just buy the volumes. Maybe it would do better, who knows. Either way, I'm still going to enjoy, you know, Build King for what it had, and go for whatever Shimabakura goes next. As long as it's not a gag manga, that's my thing, is he's funny, but I like his action, like, coupled with, like, his comedy, because I did like that about Build King, I like that about Toriko as well. I still think people definitely need to give Toriko more breaks. Toriko is good. I would have loved to see, like, him take Build King to those levels and go into, like, some crazy action and crazy, absurd, large-scale world building. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be the case for its, like, again, very unfortunate acting. But the chapter begins. It's that one dude. He's like the head of Build On. I forgot his name. It was like something Suplex. But he's showing up, piecing what's going on, and he's concerned about the vigor. And that's when it goes over to where Tankachi smashed that huge area against Taka, and he's like saying how they're gonna start caving in to Styx Valley, and oh, like maybe it was Tankachi's hammer, but no, it was that there's a whole nother Styx Valley, or Valley Styx right next to him, this big carving out of land, and that, you know, going over when he's like, oh, who did this, and it pans right over to Renga. Obviously, that had to do, like, with the big, just the general slash that Renga did with his black figure to get out of Haka's bubble. Which is really cool. Like, you can see just, like, these dual big flexes. You have this massive slash attack from Renga, and you see on top of that, and then compared to Styx Valley, the sheer level of raw damage Tankachi just slammed into the side of, just into this cliffside in between of them as well. Like, it was really cool. I wanted to see this, like, played out and see where exactly it was going to take it, because in the one shot, like, this essentially was, like, setting up for what the premise was in the one shot, is that this guy shows up, and his name, I think it was, Jaru Hearts, and he is the, like, he's one of the, like, big shots of, like, the top big people in the world. It says he's one of the 5 top vigor users in the world. He was the first builder to solve the mystery of the Build King, and he was, like, a master carpenter of the first generation. So he's like one of the peak people in their world. And he's talking about how, like, his whole, like, flashback moment with Shovel, and Shovel revealed that Renga and Tankachi both have gold and black vigor, which I thought they got it from 2x4, but it's actually 2x4 just helped kind of, like, push it along. He just helped boast it up, essentially. So I think that's really cool. Or maybe it's like, because they're saying, like, he had the genome, maybe it was they had the potential for it, and then 2x4 just kind of, like, boosted it. And Black Vigor's whole thing is it's a vigor that can bury all of their vigors. It can destroy all of them. Just think of it kind of like how you have paint. You can have any color, and enough black paint is just going to completely convert it all into just black. Same thing with, like, white. And eventually will just lighten or darken it until it becomes the same as it. And Gold Vigor is the vigor that just evolves. It becomes almost like a living creature. He was going to have, like, Tankachi eventually was going to have, like, something like the Venom suit, but with the power of, like, Doomsday, where he would just continuously evolve with this, like, living power source. I thought that was a really neat thing as well. But he's saying that at one point 2x4 destroyed a Build King in order to protect its owner. And I really wanted to know exactly, like, the concept that he was doing with 2x4 in this version as well, because in the one shot, the main character was with the Build King. There was only one Build King, and that was 2x4. So was this whole setup with the serialized Build King going to be that, like, they're going to go now be with 2x4, like the main cast is going to be living with 2x4, and then all these other characters are going to try and show up to take Tonkatsu or Renga's vigor or go after the Build King, because we know that their vigor is like a super high value to any of these other corporations, and we know Satan Hills wants to get their hands on it by themselves. Who knows other villain groups that would be out there. But then it goes down like in this crater, like all the way at the bottom of Styx Valley, I would assume. Tonkatsu's still trying to fight, he's getting up, and then here comes Haka, who's got a vigor vacuum. He looks actually really spooky in his design, and I've liked that he's progressively looked more horrifying as he's fought. And now he's got this like really wicked smile with like his weird hair all overflowing, and then doesn't have the pupils drawn in his eyes with this weird leech tongue he wants to like steal their power. He's looking like a real monster. And then that's when 2x4 shows up and the chapter ends. He's like saying how they look exhausted. It's like asking them to come inside his house, and it's the safest place in the world because we know that inside of him, as he's like the strongest, this is like the strongest house beast, that he's being behind this level of a character is better protection than any other essential place in the world. And he has been the one thing that's defeated a Build King, so really being with him is just an automatic win. In some cases, I wonder how it would really play out, because that was going to be the story of the original series. So what was going to be like the general story after 2x4 comes into like the show? I really would like to see this play out. Again, like Build King's chance that maybe another magazine wants to buy it, like I think, was it Kondasha did with Shaman King? Obviously, Build King wasn't as successful as Shaman King, but it's like maybe someone will see the potential in it after seeing the first volume actually sell fairly better than I think a lot of people thought it was going to do. And that was with like no advertising and literally announcing that it was getting canceled. Like, information of it getting canceled came out like the day before, or like the day of when the first volume went on sale. So we'll see. I mean, there's always that possibility. I think the story like is really, really unique. I wanted to figure out like where this was gonna go and where the large scale adventure really played out. But if none of these other magazines decide to do anything with it, and it's just gonna be the extra chapter that comes out in Volume 3, it's gonna be unfortunate. I would hope that if that's the case, that Shimabukuro is just gonna try again and do another series. I really like Toriko. I would have really liked to see how Build King played out, but if this is it and just the third volume, that's going to be it. I am buying the physical volumes. I have Volume 1 so far. I'm going to get Volume 3, and then I'll be able to look at what the extra chapter in Volume 3 is when it comes out. I think in September right now is the plan. But as of right now, I'll always keep the small amount of hope. Maybe somebody will decide to give Build King another chance at some point in any of these magazines. Again, it would be so easy just to put it as a digital release and have Build King just be a series that, because I think if it played out, that a lot more people would want to read it. Like when it gets into more of the action and large scale crazy adventure stuff, because the one of the problems is the beginning was a little slow. Like I said, I wish there was a little bit more action in the earlier parts of the stories, bigger earlier. And then maybe going to like a job site before the license exam and just seeing like how dangerous a job site could be. Almost kind of like if there was like an internship kind of thing, just as like a one-time adventure, maybe a couple chapters at the beginning. Unfortunately, the Build King wasn't able to get that hook onto people. But like I said, there's always that slim chance of maybe somebody else decides to in a different magazine. Until then, one of these is answered, again, Shimabukuro might having another one-shot or maybe putting out something else in Shonen Jump or a different magazine. I'll definitely be there to check it out. I'm just hoping it's not a gag series, because I know he like switches between them whenever he does a one-shot, like of an idea. It's either really silly or if it's something kind of like Toriko or Build King, where it's like this really heavy themed on one thing, over-the-top action adventure fantasy style of a series. So we'll see. Anyway, other than that though, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about Build King in general. I know some people really were enjoying what they saw the potential in it was. I know some people didn't really give it enough of a try, and some people just didn't like it. Either way, I really enjoyed it. I'm sad that it's gone. I'm gonna check out the series that's taking its place next week.
I'm just hoping that series isn't going to be just like a gag series, and there's going to be like a more serious thing. Like someone said, it's like a weird, at like pace, like it's like desserts and like foods battle series or something. I'm just hoping it's not a gag series, because I can enjoy something if it's a little bit more gag sided, something like Sakamoto Days, or Mashal is like a good chunk further away from what I would consider like a gag. It's got its own kind of like overall plot. It's more like One Punch Man's kind of structure, but like I want more to something like kind of like what I have with like Black Clover and what I had with Build King, Chainsaw Man, like series that I had a lot to talk about, even if I was just reviewing it, that I would just kind of get really hyped for whatever comes out in the following chapters, because there's still stuff I enjoy that I review, but I don't talk about it as large scale, and then there's stuff that I enjoy that I don't even really talk about on the channel. Some kind of stuff like One Piece and My Hero, and Yozakura Family, stuff that I do enjoy, but I just don't really go off on anything about it. But we'll see. I like Shimabakuro's style. I'm just hoping that he either gives doing a serious manga another chance in Shonen Jump. I would hope a different magazine. I wish he would go to Shonen Magazine and go over there, because they definitely let things play out in the style of somebody who's got a much larger scale scheme going of a series. Because one of the things that Shonen Jump has that's a problem right now that I don't think a lot of people really give in mind is a lot of their series haven't been very long lately. Like Jujutsu Kaisen is booming right now. It's only got like 2 years left, so it's gonna end in the early 200 chapters. My Hero's in its final act. One Piece only has a handful of years left. Black Clover has the potential to go for like a good chunk of hundreds more. But I feel like by the time when One Piece is coming to an end, Black Clover will probably close to its end as well. Like they need to start really gearing up longer running series. And I think with Build King, if they let it play out more, it would have started to pick up like a good chunk over time. I do really wish they waited until at least after Volume 2 sales to make a decision on it, because Volume 2 is where like a lot of the more interesting, I think large scale more interesting stuff happens in the series, because the first volume really just seeing the setting kind of set, and then you're getting some character chapters with Tonkachi and setting up Tonkachi's character, and then it gets into like the more plot important stuff with like build on Satan Hills stuff with like Tonkachi and Rengout's vigors, like stuff. If that happened earlier in the story, I think the series could have really picked up a lot in popularity. Like a lot of current Shonen Jump, they just do not do well with slower paced series right now. Like they don't seem to really care for them, which is unfortunate, because one of the things when people complain about Build King is saying it was like a very 2000s to like mid 2000s series, and that's one of the things I liked about it. I liked that we had another classic shonen going, because we don't have a lot of those right now, and I would have really appreciated seeing that style played out by Shimabaku, because I know how grand of a world he knows how to construct and how much of a fun action series he can do. But until something's again either decided if he's going to do another manga, or if maybe some miracle can happen and resurrect Build King somehow, then I'll just be patiently waiting, because I do really like his style. But until then, that's it for this video. I'm going to call it good, and I'd really appreciate it if people could tell me what their thoughts were about the series below. And, if they read Toriko, if they like Toriko, were they looking forward to Build King? I know there was a bunch of people that were waiting until the series got past like the axing point, so they didn't want to get invested. But anybody who didn't, if they were one of those people. But anyway, other than that, don't comment below. Thumbs up the video, friend, like, then subscribe button, check out my other videos. But I appreciate everybody's already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.